there was a taunting call in our game. It was against the Pittsburgh Steelers, of course, but that was nothing compared to what Brady did during that Saints game, and he got nothing and not even a fine. So when it comes to being good and being pampered to and lucky, there's a big difference. We are actually good in all phases of the game. We're good.
And I would like to say this, JP. This team is better than last year's team. This team is all so much more well-rounded at every position. I know when you look at the roster stack up between the Buccaneers and the Chiefs rosters from last year, you could obviously say the Buccaneers had a slight advantage. I feel like the Chiefs have kind of leveled and maybe even have elevated in certain areas. So I think that if we were to run it back against them, we would have an easier time, and I think we would beat them. I really do.
Yeah, I believe so too.
Yeah, we're deeper where it counts this year. I mean,
exactly.
The entire second string defensive line can play. And I mean, we were playing a third string right tackle today, and Mahomes had 8 seconds to throw in the first half.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw what happened when we were playing a third string right tackle last year in the Super Bowl. So that's, the difference in where our roster's at right now.
And it just shows you the depth we have on the defensive line. I mean, Melvin Ingram was getting back there. Chris Jones was getting back there. Even if they weren't getting sacks, they were getting pressures, causing Big Ben to throw bad passes. I'm sorry, but Big Ben could not throw the ball and hit a side with the back door of a barn. No. His accuracy was really off, and that was concerning for me because I know, and honestly, it was kind of bittersweet too, because as many as we've seen, Big Ben will come into Kansas City and then beat the Chiefs and then knock us off our high horse. This time, we basically knocked them down a couple pegs down where they're already at. And to see that, I was like, wow, the tide has really turned, because usually the Steelers were always better than the Chiefs, always tougher. This last couple of years, it's no doubt about the Chiefs are the better team, and it's not even close. Not even close.
Same since they lost Bell and they lost AB. And Ben's injury didn't help either. But I mean, they were his go-to guys, and Ben's this again another quarterback that he's arrogant, and he doesn't feel like he needs to practice up these guys that maybe second and third string guys. He finds the cream of the crop players, and he plays with those guys. And then when it all boils down to it, and you need those other guys that you feel like aren't worthy of you, it doesn't do you any good. You fall flat. And Ben's always been a little bit arrogant. Everybody knows that. So I think this, if the talk of the year has been him retiring after this season, or his contemplation of retirement.
Oh, he'll retire.
If this game doesn't if this game doesn't
they bring him back after that, nah.
No.
After
and I don't think any other team would either.
Passes,
yeah,
he ain't coming back.
No.
I mean,
go ahead, Charles.
I was just saying, think about this. Think about how lucky that franchise is to draft as well as they do.
Yeah.
That's true. That's fair.
I mean,
that is fair.
That they nail the draft every year, but I mean, still, I don't know. With Big Ben, there's only so much you can do.
Yeah. And what they should do is take that guy to Pittsburgh. He's pretty good. He might be able to be the good bridge. But what we're seeing is that you can't hold on stars too long. We saw the Chiefs do that with Justin Houston. I would say probably with Derek Johnson too, and then Tamba Hali probably towards the end of his career, along Tamba was out there playing. But you can't hold players that long. And that's kind of what I think what the Steelers are realizing, is that we've kind of had all these guys that you need to move on. As painful as it is, we need to improve the team. And that's what we saw Beach do that first off season. So it's good to see us doing that. But I got a quick question for you guys.
With quarterbacks, though, it's hard because, he's turning 40 this year. Okay. Aaron Rodgers is going to turn 38 or 39 this year. Okay. But he's playing like he's 28. All right. So it's very difficult to judge a quarterback upon age. Now you can judge them upon injury and desire, and maybe even, just mental stability.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Big Ben has lived out his last days. And I think the Chiefs, I feel like we've kept players a little bit too long when we could have moved on and drafted better. That's all I'm saying. In certain aspects, I think we did. Now, I would have loved to have Justin Houston, but he just wasn't getting off the edge like he used to before the ACL injury. Tamba Hali was doing his thing, but unfortunately, I think he just got older. He has that burst. Eric Berry, I mean, I wanted to keep him, but the injuries from that standpoint. But from what I'm trying to say is, I think the Chiefs It's hard to part with these great players. And as we know, Ben Roethlisberger is probably one of the greatest players we have ever had. So to see that happen, it sucks and it's sad to see, but it's kind of like it's going to happen.
Yeah.
You guys see what I'm saying? It's kind of
definitely.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. His
It happens.
injuries just
It
hit
happens
him,
to
man.
everybody.
It does.
Yeah, you're gonna
It
have to
does.
move on. Like one day, we will have to probably move on from Kelsey and Tyreek Hill. Now, I don't think that's gonna happen in
Shut
the
your
next
mouth.
5-6 years.
You shut
but
your
you
mouth.
never know.
Yeah.
You
No.
shut your mouth when you're talking to me, saying those dirty words.
JP,
Yeah.
that ain't gonna happen for a long
I
time. That's
know.
why I said 5,
I'm
6, 7
teasing,
years.
man.
from
I'm teasing. Kelsey,
based on their prime,
yeah, Kelsey just signed. What he signed? He said he
like a
extended-
7-year extension altogether.
Yeah,
he's gonna be
7
here
year
for the rest of.
altogether. So he'll retire.
He's playing
here.
like he's 23 when he's 32.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So-
you got him. You got Tyreek that's going to sign another extension. He's not going anywhere. Hardman, I think, has kind of proven himself to be very worthy of being on this football team, as much as people
Mhm.
want to trash him.
So-
We just need that other deep threat to help him out a little bit. We don't need a
So
number
J-
2 because we don't have another. Never had that, but
Mhm.
we just have to have that other. And Josh may still be that guy. We just haven't. He hasn't gotten the ball, man. I mean, you
Mhm.
know, and the times that, like I said, when a quarterback's reading 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and number 6 is your last option while you're
Mhm.
rolling out of the pocket, throwing, you know, sidearm, falling down,
Mhm.
you know, to a guy that's not used to that. Don't expect him to be able to adjust to it every time because he's
And
not.
I think Mahomes sees that and realizes I need to look for him more often.
Yeah,
Maybe in the first couple reads.
exactly.
But what player do you think you guys improved the most or kind of popped off the screen to you? I just kind of curious, like, what are your thoughts on the offensive side of the ball and the defensive side of the ball?
Pop's a good word to use. Pringle. I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
let's
was
go.
offensively, he was great.
Mhm.
Defensively, to me, and it wasn't sustained throughout the whole game, but Jaron Reed got up in Big Ben's face quite a bit
He did.
early on. We had a ton of pressure up the middle with him and Chris Jones, and I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that I don't know. I think that's what really made their offense not be able to operate. But yeah,
Mhm.
Pringle was incredible. And I was going to say, when you guys were talking about number 2 wideouts, he looked like he wanted that pretty bad today. So
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, there
And
was a
that's-
special
go
teams
ahead.
hit. Who was it? Who was on that special teams hit?
Kemp?
Was it Kemp? No, it was Pringle. It was Pringle that laid that dude out, wasn't it?
On the kickoff?
It was a kickoff. Yeah, it was a kickoff from
I'm
Pringle.
pretty sure that was Kemp.
It might have been Kemp. He laid somebody out. I mean, hard. And then I tell you what, Snead is not scared of anybody. That
No,
dude's just not
he's not.
scared,
He's
man.
not.
He just puts
That's
the
great.
hammer down every time. The dude just he's got such ball awareness. He's so good at knowing when to hit, when to run, when to move, which way to move. I absolutely, that was one of the best things Veach ever did was pick him up. I mean, I think he is probably, him and Ward are our best 2 corners, in my opinion.
oh yeah,
You know,
I
without
don't think
fail.
it's close either.
No, it's not. I mean, I mean, what's his face?
Fenton.
Fenton's good. Don't get me wrong, and I think he's probably the most improved. But when it comes to just top 2 corners on our team, Ward and Snead got it down. I mean, it just is what it is. You know, those guys, unbelievable. And as far as popping is today was concerned, I think Gore was my offensive pop day. I mean, that guy just brought it and brought it and brought it. And when
True.
people, they tried to bring him down, and he would
Mhm.
pick up another 3 or 4 yards, dragging a few people with him or breaking a few tackles, and then, you know, catching the ball downfield. He was just, in my opinion, the pop guy for me on offense. Defensively,
Okay.
I'd have to say Snead. I mean,
Snead?
yeah,
Okay,
that
okay.
dude's just an animal. I'm sorry, but he's.
I
So
mean, no,
good.
that's fair. I think it's very fair and warranted. My offense is going to be McCall Hardman because I feel like, yeah, there's stuff he didn't do the best at this game, like trying to run through certain passes, but that touchdown catch and that run, especially where he did a stop and pop,
That was
I mean,
nice.
that was a IQ level 100 play. I mean, that was phenomenal to see. And
Yeah.
I really think Hardman, he's gonna make his money on those short, quick passes. And maybe they should line him up in the backfield in certain instances, but letting him be that short game guy, I think is really gonna help. Defensive player, I'm gonna go with sorry, excuse me. I'm gonna go with Wharton in that sense because Wharton on that one play where they just him and Reed just got back there and he knocked the ball to Roethlisberger's hands. I don't know what they did, if there was a miscommunication on the offensive line, but they just pushed through and then we're at Big Ben. I looked down at my computer for 1 second and Lynn looked up and I was like, whoa, what? And then there was a fumble. So I think adding players like Wharton, Division II player out of Missouri S&T, I think that's how Southeast Missouri. I mean, adding players like that. I mean, well, hello. I mean, obviously, Veach can draft. And what we said, Charles, you said Pringle, correct?
Yeah.
You said Pringle. JP, did you say Pringle on the offensive side of the ball? Or who did you? Oh, you said Gore. You said Gore.
Yeah, Gore.
And then I said, oh crap. And I said,
Hardman.
Hardman. So when you look at those two guys, you guys just said on the offensive side, in defense side of the ball, those are undrafted players. Those are players no one else wanted in the draft, but Veach found those guys. Veach found those guys, brought them in, and was able to use them and fit their skill sets to help us. And that's phenomenal because it looks like CEH, like you said, JP, he might have broken his collarbone or fractured it. We're going to need another running back. Gore has stepped up in this game and showed us. We might need another wide receiver to step up, and that's what Pringle showed us there. So we got in Wharton, we might need him on the defensive line. So we all picked 3 undrafted players that no one was thinking about, no one was talking about, that was able to help our team. And we got them at the right times, and they're in the right situations.
You know who else is undrafted?
That's a great
on our
point.
Offensive side,
Who?
Daryl Williams.
Oh, that's true. Yep, that's true.
So,
So basically, you don't need the draft is great, but if you can find these guys that are undrafted, it's wonderful.
those are the guys that are hungry, man, and that's what we've been saying for
That's
years. I've
true.
been saying this for years. You get your guys that are undrafted, your 5th, 6th round, 4th, 5th, 6th round guys that are passed up by these so-called expert scouts that think they know it all because somebody went to a national championship or whatever the case may be. You're missing out because we picked up so many 4th, 5th, and 6th round draft picks and undrafted people that have turned out to be absolute beasts and stars for our team.
Mhm.
Simply because other GMs are too stupid to do it. And I'm not trying to be rude. I'm being serious. That's dumb on their part.
Well, and I think we
Don't pass
try to
up
focus
somebody
on
like that.
Mhm. Mhm.
Don't.
I think we focus too much on the big name players, and Veach has gone to these conferences that no one really talks about. And we got Kareem Hunt out of Toledo, MAC conference. They got Dirty Dan out of BYU. They know they were independent at the time. I mean, he got Ben Neiman from Iowa undrafted. Byron Pringle, who was a stud at Kansas State. I know him because I watched a lot of Kansas State football. Derek Gore, I think one of our listeners on Spaces, they said he was at Alabama at one point, but he went to the University of Louisiana Monroe.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when you can find these guys. That's one thing. As Shannon Sharp said on this show, he went to HBCU. If you're good, they will find you. That's what the coach said. Veach will find you. He will find you. He will get you one way or another. I think that's kind of the crazy thing we see. This team probably has to be one of the best teams at depth we've ever seen before, because I've never seen a team just be stacked at every single position and not really be worrisome.
Yeah. Charles,
Yeah.
I mean, you played college. I played baseball in college, and you know what it's like. I mean, I went to a small college in Iowa that nobody really even knew the town existed, but it was a big baseball college. So, when I got recruited there, at first I thought, who the hell is this college? I mean, yay, I got drafted to Centerville, Iowa. Nobody knows where that town is and nobody cares. But the coach was connected with the Royals. He was connected with like 9 other Major League Baseball teams. And he was one of the best pitching coaches in all of college baseball. I didn't know that at the time. I was talking to a few friends of mine and said, hey, man, this guy in Iowa wants me. Where? Centerville? And I went, yeah, how the hell did you know that? Oh, Jesus, you better jump on that. Why? He's one of the best for pitchers. Really? Oh, yeah. He'll get you in the league. And they weren't wrong. I mean, he was phenomenal. He was, these little schools. And I mean, I lived on a 20-acre farm in an A-frame house that he owned because they had no dorms. There was no dorms when I got pulled in. So he said, here, stay here. I don't live here. At first, when he told me to stay there, I thought, okay, that's creepy, because I thought he lived there, but he didn't. It was just his go hunting place, So I stayed there by myself. in this A-frame house for about 3 months until I got a roommate. But it was insane.